Hi, I'm Nick. I'm part of the UK sales team here in Weybridge in our beautiful HUF House show house. And I had visitors this morning, and one important question and quite a big part of our conversation was how a HUF House performs on a hot day like today. Outside, it has 31, 32 degrees, and it is currently 22 degrees here in our show house. And the clients asked, how do we achieve that? And I thought I explain this hopefully in a few words. Now, we obviously built with a lot of glass. That's what is this architecture. That's what the HUF House philosophy is. Wood and predominantly glass. I mean, I'm looking around here. We've got probably this as the only real outside wall panel. The rest is all glass that I can see. The glass is very good. It's triple glazing, amazing U values, but the main purpose of U values as such is to keep warmth, keep energy in the house. You know, cold days, winter months, I want to use as little energy as possible to heat this house and the house not to leak. And that's why these houses are so well insulated, and a big part of that is the glass. That doesn't really have anything to do with summer, because as soon as sun touches glass, it heats up. And how do we prevent this house from becoming a greenhouse? Now, there are two main structural elements, two measures that are an integral part of the design of the house. One is the very large roof overhang, 1.5 meters of roof overhang upstairs, obviously in this house, that prevents the sun from touching the glass during the hottest time of the day. So midday, 1, 2 o'clock, the sun is at its highest point. The roof overhang stops the sun from touching the glass. Plus, of course, also it stops the rain from touching the house, which extends the lifespan of the timber, which reduces the amount of window cleaning necessary in these houses. But the main purpose of the roof overhang is shading. Now, in the morning or in the afternoon, I want the sun to come into the house, mainly for passive solar gain. That really reduces our heat bill again in summer as well as in winter, but mainly in winter, of course. So the roof overhang does allow for the rising and the setting sun to still heat up the house. Now, when sun touches the glass, it's already too late. The house heats up. That's what glass does. The glass has, of course, got a UV filter that really helps to protect or to increase the protection for your flooring, for paintings on the wall, for the rugs on the floor. But we do need to stop the sun outside the glass. And that's why we see that slightly here behind me. We've got external blinds. Wherever there is a glass panel in this house, there is also an external blind, whether it's a big rectangular glass panel, whether it is a sloping glass panel in the apex. I'll show that a little later. They all have electric blinds. Venetian blinds, aluminium, so they don't rust, they don't weather, they don't age, but they are external and you can tilt them in order to reflect the sun. Now, we've got something rather clever in this house, which is called a weather station. That's quite an important part of the smart home system, and it recognizes the position of the sun, the angle, as well as the intensity of the sun. So on a hot day like today, in the morning, the blinds will come down in the east and they will tilt exactly to reflect the sun away from the glass, allowing me still, like you see behind me, to still look through, to still enjoy the garden on a beautiful day like today, or the view. So it doesn't block off the sun, not like in other southern European countries, like, for example, Portugal, Italy, France. They all have their outside shutters. Another reason why they're outside, but they are obviously there to block the sun during the day in order to keep the house cool so that people can sleep at night. Yeah. Ours, Venetian blinds, you can tilt them, you can look through, and that stops the sun from touching the house on heating up the house. Internally, we've of course got other measures to avoid an aircon system. Aircon system is an easy solution, but it's not natural, it's not sustainable, it's not eco as such. So we want to have other ways to deal with that. And we use our heat pumps for that. So there is an addition, an add-on to the heat pump, which basically then creates cold water, which we run through the underfloor heating pipes. Every HUF house has got underfloor heating, zoned underfloor heating in every room. And by running cold water through that, especially when you've got hard flooring like wood or tiles, it creates a wonderful cold surface, which again helps to lower the temperature in the house by a few degrees. Additional to that, every HUF house also comes with a ventilation system, fresh air constantly being provided into the house, which we can filter, which we can humidify, but also we can cool down, we can accelerate it, and therefore we can also help to really bring down the temperature by another couple of degrees. So if it is 30 odd degrees outside, I'm stopping the sun from coming in, so it doesn't heat up, and I can lower the temperature in the house by a few degrees with the underfloor heating, in this case cooling, and with the ventilation system, which blows in nice cool air from the outside just by pure acceleration. Here the external blinds. Let me just open this big sliding door. So you see the blinds sitting on the outside. Again, the house has put those down. The house has tilt those, and they do their job here on the south-facing side, beautifully keeping the sun away from the glass. Here is a sample of our triple glazing. It is very substantial, as one can see. Argon filled, that means cold and warm are never really touching. That means there's no condensation. So for example, when I open here this big turn-tilt door, the outside here is quite warm to the touch, whereas inside very, very cool. So again, the glass does whatever it can to help with climate control in the house. I talked about blinds in the apex here. This is the east-facing side. So early this morning, these blinds will have come down also in the sloping roof here in the A-frame. And they have tilt in a particular way to reflect the sun whilst we are still able to look through. Here in the master bedroom, which is west-facing, the blinds are still up. They will come down only later today. But here you can see the extent of the roof overhang and how much this roof overhang is protecting the upstairs, which is, of course, the area which you don't want to overheat at all, because you do want to sleep when it's nice and cool rather than in a hot room. So protection for or against the sun and protection against rain, which keeps these glass panels all nice and clean. My wife and I built our own HUF house here locally a few years ago. And before I left for work this morning, we had an interesting conversation. We're sitting out in the sun on the balcony, and I asked her to please keep every window and all doors shut throughout the day. And she said, that is so counterintuitive. That is, on a hot day, you want to open up. Well, if it's 30 degrees outside and you keep all windows and doors open, eventually it will be 30 degrees inside. So you got to trust the insulation, you got to trust the cooling measures that this house provides to really keep your house nice and cool. Because the air movement that my wife is after, that you will only achieve when you are next to the sea, and there's a breeze coming from the ocean, bringing cool air in. Otherwise, the wind will be the same temperature as the outside, and therefore eventually it will be quite warm inside. So that can only be achieved if you keep the house shut, if you have that kind of discipline, Open up at night, of course. Yeah, that's beautiful. But during the day, trust the system, and your house will stay nice and cool.